Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. So in today's video, I want to do a more in-depth guide on the new Outlander 500 and Outlander 700 and also the Outlander Pros. So in the last video, you guys may have seen, it was more or less just a video of my first impressions, my first ideas of first seeing the machines myself. It was a pretty negative reaction, right? Well, to be fair, it's a lot more, different than what I was initially expecting. With that being said though, I do want to look at this review and I want to be a little bit more on the side of the average consumer buyer, along with looking at it from a pro rider racer's perspective. So hopefully I can cover both sides and I will be able to look at these machines for who they are actually intended for. And then at the very end of this video, I can give you my overall true thoughts of these machines. Let's get right into it. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right into this video. So the first thing we're going to look at is the Outlander 500s. So I'm going to try to kind of categorize these so I can make the video a little bit shorter. Don't know how that's going to work, but we'll see. So the first one we start off with is the Outlander 500 two-wheel drive. So this machine kind of battles almost directly against the Honda Rancher and beats it out in a lot of different ways. I know a lot of people have pointed that out to me. I think that where this one truly stands is that it's basically a Honda Rancher, but it is IRS, which is going to have a lot more ground clearance. And not only that, but also has a lot more power than what a Honda Rancher could almost ever dream of having. So in reality, the biggest thing that these two have pitted against each other is that the Rancher is going to be more reliable, whereas the Outlander is going to have more power, which is a traditional thing when it comes to Can-Am. Next up, you have the Outlander 500, which is a four-wheel drive version, which is just $1,000 more. Honestly, the value that you're getting out of this machine is actually stunning if you think about it the right way, because this machine competes directly against what would be like the Yamaha Kodiak 700. And these two machines are actually priced decently close to one another. They're not too far off, but it definitely changes a lot when you get to the DPS, because the DPS is only $1,000 more than that, which is $8 grand. And for the 500, that's actually not a bad price. It's not too far away from what the power steering model was on the 570. After that, you move on to the Outlander XT 700, and it only comes in a 700 chassis for $9,799 US. And this pricing, I believe, might be the almost the exact same as what like the Outlander 570 was. Now, with this in mind, one thing that's actually really doable to notice is that this machine in particular, it basically is an Outlander 570, but just slightly better. And that is one thing that I'm going to touch on in just a minute once we get to the Outlander XMR, which we will cover right now, and run over that real quick, and I'll come right back to that topic. So the Outlander XMR 700 is a very interesting case story because it has a lot more going for it than meets the eye. One of the things I like about the Outlander 700, the Outlander 700, because I want to start off with the likes first, because I want this video to be a lot more based on these machines and more in depth than what the other video was. One thing I really like about the Outlander 700 is the fact that it has the P-Drive clutch transmission. Now, the P-Drive clutch transmission is easily a lot better than what a stock primary would ever be. Though it does have more moving components, I do believe that it's going to be a lot less maintenance and you're going to get a lot more torque and feedback out of this clutch, similar to how you would feel it from a CV Tech primary. Now, on top of that, one of the other things I think is really cool about this ATV, minus the fact that it has Visco 4-lock, but the fact that this four-wheeler in particular has the extra low range is massive. For those who don't know, the extra low range only comes on the Outlander XMR 1000, also comes on the Renegade XMR 1000. Now, you can get the extra low range in the 6x6 models as well, but you won't find it on any other Can-Am model, including the Outlander 850 XMR, but you do get it on the 700, and that is actually really good because it gives you a lower gear ratio than what an Outlander 850, an Outlander 650, and Outlander 570 will be able to provide to you. So now after that, we basically move on to the Pro Series, and there isn't a whole lot to talk about here, but these are kind of cooler models because they do give you the intelligent IEB, which is the intelligent braking, and not only that, but the Hunting Edition will offer you a winch, and the other ones will offer you a front and rear bumper. Now this is the part of the video where things are going to get a little bit interesting, because I'm going to compare these vehicles to their predecessors, the ones that they are going to be replacing. Now this can go one of two ways depending on how you look at it. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down to where these vehicles should be at and what they are actually replacing, because I think people have got things just a little bit backwards, including myself at one point. To get things straight, the Outlander 500 is going to be replacing the Outlander 450, and the Outlander 700 is going to be replacing the Outlander 570. Now, if you want to look at things a little bit from a different perspective, some people believe that the Outlander 700 is supposed to be replacing the 650, and that's not really the case here, because the 650 motor can still be found in the Renegade lineup. With that being said, the Outlander 500, admittingly so, is just nothing but a straight upgrade over the 450. The 450, in all honesty, and I've always thought, this way about the 450, is that it didn't really offer a whole lot to the lineup other than being a cost-effective machine for those who want something that is easily affordable. However, one of the biggest things that the 450 lacked was the fact that it didn't share any of the same components as its V-twin older brothers. With that being said, a lot of the parts for the 450 are really hard to find, and it's also harder to work on as a result. As for the Outlander 700, the 700 does a decent job at replacing the 570. However, it does have one thing in particular that does hold it back, and that is the single cylinder 650 motor. This is one thing that I touched on in my last video that I do believe is a decent point that actually holds up compared to the rest of the video, which I honestly don't think is that great anyways. Because the biggest thing is this: even though the Outlander 500 is a straight upgrade over the 450, it's only a 2 horsepower difference, so you're really not going to notice a big difference in horsepower. However, I do believe that the way the machine looks, the way that it's going to react with the P-drive clutch, things like that, I think that it's going to handle a lot better, control a lot better, and just be a better four-wheeler in general. As for the 700, I think the 700 has a decent shot at being able to outpower a 570, mostly due to the P-drive clutch and the extra low range, if we're referring to the XMR model. So with that all being said, where do these four-wheelers actually end up stacking up against their competition? Well, we take a small look at our competition. The four-wheelers that we have going against these ATVs for the most part is going to be Yamaha's Grizzly 700 along with Suzuki King Quad 750. The Brute Force 750 is a little bit behind in terms of updates, and Honda's Rincon is not able to match any of these standards compared to the four-wheelers that we have today because it hasn't been changed or really realistically updated since 2006. Considering that the Outlander 700 has a very similar power output that the King Quad 750 and the Kawasaki 750 will be able to put out, I feel like the Outlander XMR and the XT will be able to hold their own in terms of their overall power output, along with just the features that Can-Am have added alone with the Viscolock QE, which though I'm not a big fan of, I will admit that it does work decently well in most scenarios due to the fact of how people ride these machines, alongside the P-drive clutch and your extra low range found in the XMR, which really makes this machine almost untouchable to its competition. If there's anything additional that I can say about these ATVs, whether it be positive or negative, I have to say that honestly, by the end of the day, I don't think Can-Am did a bad job. Admittingly, their reveal was questionable, I will say that. However, I do believe that these machines are mostly marketed towards beginner level riders and entry level riders, those who want to get a machine that is cheap, affordable, and just want to get their foot dirty and be able to hit the trails. However, if you are an experienced rider or a racer, I would not invest any money into these machines. My reasoning for that is mostly because of the power output. Realistically, if with a tune and an exhaust, you might see somewhere around 52, 53, maybe 55 horsepower if you're lucky, but in reality, that's not going to be enough horsepower to be able to get you by, alongside the fact that you're really just going to be blowing more money than you need to be, and a lot of the parts and stuff that are on these machines are just going to be nothing but a detriment and just kind of in the way. With the best example being the P-drive clutch. The P-drive clutch, if you're an experienced rider, is going to be almost meaningless, and the reason why is because you're going to be changing that out for an aftermarket clutch anyways, mostly because you're going to be upgrading your tire size. So overall, if you are an experienced rider and you're looking to get into Can-Am, you want something that's powerful, I would definitely steer you towards the 850 or even the Renegade 650 lineup. If you're looking to go all out, you always had the 1000s as being an option. Overall, I think these machines are definitely placed in the right area by the end of the day, and I feel like these machines are going to do decently well, but the biggest thing we're going to have to watch out is their availability, because that was a big problem that Can-Am has always had ever since the shutdown in 2020. But we'll just have to see when these things hit the showroom floor and see how they actually perform out on the trail. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys liked the video, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single upload from me. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.